The one thing I take away from Nicci's speech is the sheer exuberance with which she delivers. The connection she makes with an audience is quite extraordinary. It's absolutely brilliant.
She was amazing, entertaining, engaging, fun. She uses humor, she's vulnerable, she shares her own stories and her vulnerabilities, which helps other people open up and realize that, oh, it's not just me.
She was so authentic, engaging, and so enlivening. I feel inspired.
I would recommend Nicci in a heartbeat to any of my clients.
She talks about important things, she talks about living your life, which, you know, most people think they're doing, and you listen to Nicci and you think, wow, actually, you know, am I inspired to do more? She provoked a lot of interest and laughter, and also it was poignant.
It's absolute authenticity there that she absolutely bursts forth with fabulousness and confidence and amazing humour. I've seen Nicci talk before. She reached a new high today because she's always working at it and always honing it, and there were some absolutely fabulous lines which any audience would love.
She talked, for example, about going up a mountain to see mountain gorillas, and because she talked about all the senses, the sight, the smell, the sound, the feel, she took the entire audience with her into that mountain clearing where the silverback gorilla came out, and it was making our hearts beat faster. It was incredible.
In 2 words, what do you think about Nicci Roscoe?
Sincere and inspiring. Thank you.
She talks about a brief element of her medical history, which is obviously very painful, and talks about a brain tumour the size of a golf ball. And she's got this emotional connection with the audience. Everyone's with her. And then she talks about how she overcame that. And then she talks about how she took up golf. And she absolutely floored the audience with that. She has a very rare ability to be able to switch between the deeply serious and moving and the humorous within the space of seconds, and only a really great speaker can do that.
What audiences do you think will appreciate her the most? Business or social?
I think it's both. I know most speakers have a perfect target market, and I do think that the business audience, the obvious one, but I do also think that people in organizations, different associations, students could benefit from listening to her and her, you know, enjoying a lighthearted and entertaining presentation.
People are raving about Nicci Roscoe this morning. Why do you think that is?
Well, I'm so unsurprised. I think she's just so engaging. I think almost everyone in the audience falls in love with her in some way. She's just so out there and positive, and you just think, yep, I want a little slice of that action, that energy. Definitely, she's amazing.
The thing about Nicci is she talks about being fabulous, but she absolutely lives the brand because she is fabulous.
She uses life lessons. I think it's loads of empathy, things that you can really connect with. You can really connect with them. I think whether you're in business or personally, you can really connect the two. It's just so easy to drink up. So I think she's fabulous.
How many of you here today can remember a movie that made a fabulous impact on your life and touched you in a wonderful way that made you feel good? How many of you? Yeah. What movie was that, Simon?
Oh, loads. Brief Encounter.
How did that make you feel?
The meeting, the feeling between the two, and that, whilst it was an old movie, it resonates today. It's the same sort of emotion.
Oh.
Caught me right in the gut.
Lovely.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, the movie that made a fabulous impact on my life was that wonderful, well-known Christmas movie called It's a Wonderful Life. Who here is familiar with that? We're probably going to see it on our television screens every day now, up until the new year, right? And the reason it made that fabulous impact on my life was when James Stewart had that wow moment of realization of how important his life was and how important and unique each and every one of us are. Now, can you recall a memory that made a fabulous impact on your life? Step into that moment. Now picture this. 1,000 people over 4 tennis courts at the David Lloyd clubs where I was head of aerobics. And me at the front on a huge stage, ready to come out to Shirley Bassey's "Get the Party Started on a Saturday Night." Woo! Everybody was clapping and they were really having fun. The serotonin was flying everywhere and they were really feeling that burn. Just like you are now. Now that was a fabulously impactful moment. Now, can you remember a person that made a fabulous impact on your life? How did they make you feel? My Grandma Kay made that fabulous impact on my life. When I was a child or a teenager, and if ever I was upset, she always used to say to me, "Nick, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again." And you know what? I've carried that little bottle of confidence and that feeling of positiveness with me throughout my life. How fabulous is that? My purpose and passion in life is to help people feel that fabulous impact and to allow them to give that fabulous impact to other people too. Now, I have 5 keys to fabulous impact for business and your personal life. And I'm going to share 3 of them with you today. Anyone that would like to know about the other 2, please come and see me afterwards, and we can always do coffee, or you can buy me a glass of wine, Michael Dodd, or anybody else. Whatever you like. So, the first key I'm going to share with you today is get busy living. It was December 2001. And it was cold and dark outside, very similar to how it is now, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I was in Marks and Spencer's with my huge trolley full of shopping. And all of a sudden, it was as though a thunderbolt had hit me in the head, and the pain was excruciating. I could barely see because the light was so bright, and when I went to speak, I couldn't speak. I stood there and I was so frightened. And all I could think about were my children, Adam and Gemma, waiting for me at home. And of course, this huge trolley full of shopping, which I'm sure all of you would want to get home too. But you know what? I remembered what my Grandma Kay said to me. And I picked myself up. I dusted myself off. And somehow I found the inner strength to get myself home. 3 days later, and having migraine tablets, I was still in such terrible pain in my head, and my speech was really slurred. My GP sent me to see the neurologist, and he sent me for an MRI scan. Now, I don't know about all of you, but I was very claustrophobic, and I was petrified of needles. And the room was so cold. And was it noisy, having head pain. It was just so noisy. I don't know if any of you can relate to that, if ever you're in a very loud nightclub and there's loads of music and you've got a blinding migraine. But I was determined to find out what was going on. So I had the MRI scan. What seemed like days and days waiting. A few days later, I was sitting in the neurosurgeon's office, and he said, "Nicci, you have a brain tumour. It's embedded deep in your brain, and it's the size of a golf ball." Oh my God, I don't even play golf. I took control and I asked the surgeon, "Will I survive?" And he said, "If you don't have the operation, you will be like a vegetable within 2 years. And within 5 years, you will be dead." I made a choice. I chose life. I chose to have the operation and learn to play golf, everybody. But I remembered the film Shawshank Redemption. Who here is familiar with that film? It's such a brilliant film. When Andy said to Red, "Get busy living or get busy dying." Now, I chose to get busy living, but even though I did, I still had to make a will. I still had to get everything in order. And I still had to say goodbye to my children. And that was the hardest thing I have ever had to do. It was the most wonderful thing when I woke up and my mother was looking at me and I felt her holding my hand. And they told me I may never be able to speak again. How wrong were they? I am now the proud owner of 3 plates and 6 screws in my head, one of which is loose, as if you couldn't guess. You know what? I have pain in my head every day of my life, pain and swelling. And I may not be standing here with all of you today if I let that take control of me. Because I tell it, I'm in control of you. You are not in control of me. I could be at home with my head under the duvet right now. But I won't let that happen. What challenges in your life do you face? And how much do you take control of those challenges? Do you choose to advance? Or do you choose to retreat? Do you choose to give up? Or do you choose to get stuck in and get busy living? Think about it. The second key of fabulous impact is choosing confidence. Now just imagine for a moment we could all walk into a shop and take that little bottle of confidence off a shelf. Wow, how good would that feel? What would it do to change our lives, our personal lives, our business lives? Brilliant. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that film, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. My nephew took me to see that. And I remember Harry winning that little bottle of luck. Now that gave him the confidence to get back on his broomstick and fly away and work his magic. Now if Harry can do it, we can all do that, right? And, you know, I remember the first time I was ever on national television. I was petrified. Because there was Lorraine Kelly sitting on the sofa, all smiles, serotonin flying out everywhere. And there was I, My heart was beating so much and my pulse was racing. And I thought, what am I doing here? Have any of you ever had one of those moments, the what am I doing here moments? Well, I did. But you know what? I remembered when I was on stage with those 1,000 people and how wonderful and fabulous that felt. And I stepped into that moment. And I looked at Lorraine Kelly and I thought, you know what? If Lorraine can do it, I can do it. And I stepped into her shoes too. She didn't know that. and then I sat on the sofa and I was chattering away and I was feeling so confident. It was just brilliant. But what I didn't realise was that I'd forgotten to stop talking. Because the producers and directors had said to me, when we give you the cue, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cut. You need to stop, Nicci. And I wondered why they were all jumping around and waving their arms everywhere. And it was like, oh no, another oh my God moment. But you know, I could have let that moment ruin my confidence. But I didn't. Because I remembered my Grandma Kay and what she said to me. I remembered to pick myself up, dust myself off, and get back onto national television. And as we remember the wow moment of realization that James Stewart had in the wonderful film, It's a Wonderful Life, we can now have an exceptional force of positive change in our own lives. My third key today is finding courage. Let me ask you this question. When was the last time you stepped out of your comfort zone and you faced your fears? Okay, good. But when you stepped out of your comfort zone, Simon, and you faced your fears, what courage did you need to then take that leap of faith so that you could achieve what you wanted to do in all areas of your life? And that goes for everybody. I nearly lost my life 11 years ago. But I decided I wanted to achieve something and do something. And I remember seeing that wonderful film, The Bucket List. Who's seen The Bucket List with Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson? And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it, because they waited till the end of their life to make that list. The list of things they wanted to achieve. So what are we all waiting for? Let's make that list now. And that is exactly what I did. Because after my operation, I wanted to climb in the Virunga Mountains and see the gorillas in Rwanda. And who is familiar with Diane Fossey and Gorillas in the Mist? Wow, that woman is an inspiration. And she had the courage, didn't she, to stand up to the murderers of Digit, her beloved gorilla, and for all the gorillas that were becoming extinct. Now, I may be no Diane Fossey, but I wanted to achieve this goal on my bucket list. Picture this. The base of the Virunga Mountains at 4:30 a.m. It was cold and it was very misty. There I was in my climbing gear and my walking stick and my very sexy hat. And here it is, right now. I had to bring it with me to show you all. What do you think? This is it. And as we set off, the guides had the backpack on their backs, and we began to walk up. And my heart was beating so fast because the air started to get thinner and thinner. And I was so relieved and so happy that I had prepared, planned, and practiced for this trip, as we do in business and our personal lives. It was so wonderful to know that I had actually been on the treadmill, trained loads of my jogging, and walking up on the treadmill as well, walking up a gradient. So that really made a difference for me. And as we were travelling and as we were walking up the mountain, I was getting more and more excited. 6 hours later, we reached the top. Wow, how fabulous was that? But as we looked around, where were the gorillas? They'd gone down to the bottom. Aye! we all collapsed in a heap on the floor, and we were all very, very tired. But you know what? We were all determined, and I was very determined, to pick myself up, drink loads of water because otherwise I would feel too dehydrated, and get myself back down that mountain. And that's exactly what I did. And there was that one moment that I had to take that leap of faith and jump into the arms of the guide. Now that was a moment you should have all been there to see. It was fabulous because the terrain going down was so much more challenging than going up. And as I was following him behind, all of a sudden, I saw these big brown eyes looking at me. And the guide said, "Shh!" And we all stopped. And this huge, massive silverback gorilla came charging out at us. And as he did so, the guide went wham and smashed me back onto the ground. My heart was in my mouth. It was the most exhilarating, exciting moment I have ever experienced. We were all told to stay very submissive and crouch down. And as the gorilla came walking through us again, looking from side to side to side, he then disappeared into the clearing. Whew. And as we walked through, he was there, standing there, in a very cool rap pose, as you can see, right here, right now. Oh, where is my lovely gorilla? Hooray! And you know what? That was a fabulous moment. So what are you all going to do now on your bucket list? When are you going to find that courage? When are you going to choose confidence? And when are you all going to get busy living? Thank you.